You're watching Forsaken Joe. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy the story. Let's begin.
I knew something was off the second I pulled into the gravel lot and saw that massive white tent pitched like it was the damn county fair. They'd even lined the edges with those twinkle lights like it was prom night. For a business blessing ceremony, it looked more like a wedding or a campaign rally. My name's Rick. I'm 38, live just outside of Bozeman, Montana. And I only showed up that early because Krista made a big deal about us being present and supportive. Translation: she needed me to smile while her family paraded their delusions of grandeur. They'd been calling it a blessing for her brother Ryan's new venture, some kind of outdoor retreat meets business incubator thing. But this whole setup screamed something else. There was even a red carpet leading into the tent, with local high school kids hired to valet. I parked off to the side on the dirt, like always. Quick note: before we start, how's your day going and where are you joining from? The second I stepped out of my truck, the smell hit me: fried food, new lumber, and too much money being spent too fast. Krista's parents were obsessed with appearances. Her dad, Gerald, was one of those guys who wore loafers to a barbecue and acted like he invented real estate. Her mom, Jeanette, floated around events like a pageant coach who never got her crown. They'd always treated me like the guy Krista settled for. I wasn't flashy, didn't wear designer crap, didn't brag about my income, which, by the way, dwarfs their precious son's little venture. But I learned early, the more they knew, the more they'd want. So I kept quiet, told them I was just managing the family ranch. Technically true. What I didn't tell them was that the ranch had been in my grandfather's name since the 50s, and he left it all to me. Every acre, every asset, every line of the trust. It's not just land. It's the one place where nobody tells me who to be. I walked into the tent and nodded to the caterers. A couple of the fairground staff were taping signage to the donation boards near the back corner. I glanced at it, half out of habit, and then I saw it, right there in bold black letters. Special contributions, Rick Haldren, Legacy Tier. Legacy Tier? What the hell was that supposed to mean? I stared at it for a second too long before someone called out my name. I forced a smile, walked toward the noise, and kept my mouth shut. But my gut told me this wasn't just about a blessing anymore. I didn't say a word, just stood there, eyes locked on that damn sign, pretending I hadn't seen it. I made my way toward the drink table like nothing was wrong, grabbed a bottle of water, twisted the cap with one hand, and kept scanning the tent. They'd printed Legacy Tier on every damn board, one by the catering station, one by the welcome table, and a huge one up front near the podium. Each one had my name at the top in big, clean block letters. Below me were other names: local dentists, a state rep, Krista's old high school chemistry teacher, all labeled supporters or friends of the project. So I was the big fish now. I kept my mouth shut. I'd seen this playbook before. Flashy setup, selective storytelling, push someone into a corner while the crowd claps. Krista's parents loved to set traps with appetizers and polite smiles. The guests started trickling in around noon. Local faces first. Church folks, bank managers, Krista's cousins. Everyone smiled a little too wide when they saw me. A couple even clapped me on the back and said stuff like, "What you're doing here is really something. And truly generous, Rick. Truly." I gave the same tight-lipped smile every time, just nodded like a guy who forgot his own wallet but didn't want to hold up the line. 10 minutes later, I saw Gerald and Jeanette glide in like royalty. Gerald had that slicked-back gray hair, wearing a sports coat way too hot for the weather. Jeanette wore pearls, like she was hosting a fundraiser at a museum. She made a beeline for me the second she saw I was alone. "Rick," she said, voice syrupy sweet. "You didn't tell us you'd be so involved." I played dumb. "Involved in what?" She gave a little laugh. "Oh, come now. You've certainly gone above and beyond. The signage is just lovely, isn't it?" Before I could answer, Gerald cut in. "We appreciate you stepping up, Rick. This is how families build legacies, together." He slapped my back like I was part of the club. I felt the heat rise in my neck, but kept it buried. Across the tent, I spotted Krista talking to her dad near the gift table. I moved closer, staying behind one of the support poles, just close enough to hear her voice. "He won't say no with everyone watching," she said. Gerald gave a soft chuckle. "Just make sure he doesn't leave before the speech." I froze. It all clicked right then. The over-the-top decor, the donation tier, the whispers. This wasn't a thank you party. It was a setup. They were going to put me on blast in front of everyone. Paint me into a corner where saying no made me look like the bad guy. Krista knew. She had to. She was in on it. She smoothed her dress, checked her hair in her phone screen, and turned back toward the center of the tent. I didn't wait. I walked straight past the catering table, past a family friend trying to hand me a glass of champagne, and ducked into the portable restroom trailer parked behind the tent. Locked the door behind me. Inside, I leaned against the sink, staring at my own face in the mirror. My jaw was tight. I felt sick. This wasn't some harmless white lie. This was betrayal with decorations and a catered lunch. I pulled my phone from my pocket. My fingers were already moving. I stepped into the stall, locked it, and sat down hard on the toilet lid with the lid closed. Phone in hand, heart pounding. My thumb hovered over Linda's contact. She picked up on the second ring. Boss, everything okay? Yeah, just need you to check something for me real quick, I said, keeping my voice low. Anyone been asking questions at the ranch lately? Any calls about deeds, tours, legal access, that kind of thing? She didn't miss a beat. Nope, nothing weird. Same borders, same feed runs. I check the logs every day. Any requests for site visits? From the family? No. You think someone's poking around? I think someone's planning something. She went quiet a second, then said, Want me to lock the main gate? Not yet, I said. Just stay sharp. Keep the cameras rolling. I'll call again soon. I hung up and immediately dialed Keene. Donald Keene was one of those old-school Montana lawyers. White hair, stiff collars, voice like gravel. My grandfather trusted him with everything, and after he passed, I did too. Keene had been the one who structured the trust airtight, just in case anyone tried anything stupid. He picked up after a couple rings. Well, I'll be damned. Rick Haldren. It's Sunday already? Donald, I need a gut check. Quick one. I filled him in. The donation signs, the whispers, Krista and Gerald's little powwow. He didn't even sound surprised. You want me to trigger the legal shield now? He asked. I rubbed my forehead. I don't know. I want to believe it's a misunderstanding. Maybe they're trying to impress donors. Or maybe it's just Krista's dad being a showman. You don't put a man's name on a public donation board by accident, Keene said flatly. And you sure as hell don't plan a speech around it unless you think he's going to sit there and take it. I swallowed hard. My stomach felt like it was full of wet cement. Keene's voice softened just slightly. Listen, son. Your grandfather saw this coming a mile off. That's why we put the irrevocable trust clause in there. Can't be gifted, sold, or transferred without your written consent and a 2-week holding period. They can announce whatever they want. They won't get a damn inch. I know, I muttered. I just didn't think Krista would go along with it. People do funny things when they want applause. I didn't say anything. I didn't want to believe it. Not really. But deep down, I already knew. I'll be on standby, Keene said. Say the word, and I'll flip every switch we built. Thanks. Stay close. I hung up, leaned back against the stall wall, and stared at the ceiling. My ears were ringing from the silence in there. I couldn't sit any longer. I stepped out, splashed water on my face, dried it off with cheap brown paper towels, and took a deep breath. When I opened the bathroom trailer door, Krista was standing right there, like she'd been waiting. There you are, she said, forcing a smile. You've been gone a while. Needed air, I said, brushing past her. She followed me, heels clicking on the ramp. Can you just not make a thing out of this today? I stopped walking and turned to face her. A thing, I said. You had my name printed on a donation board for a land transfer I never agreed to. Your dad's got a speech ready. Half the tent's calling me a legacy donor. What exactly do you think I'm making a thing out of? She exhaled sharply and dropped her voice. Don't cause a scene. This is about family. About Ryan finally doing something that matters. Then use your family's money, not my land. Her eyes narrowed. She didn't say anything for a second. You said you didn't even like being on that ranch half the time, she muttered. I shook my head, jaw clenched. But it's mine. And you knew this was coming. You didn't warn me. You let it happen. She crossed her arms. We just thought. Maybe if you saw how much it meant. No, I cut in. You thought if you embarrassed me in front of enough people, I'd cave. She blinked. That was it, the flicker. The truth behind her silence. I walked past her, back toward the tent. My chest was tight. Not with nerves, with clarity. I stepped back into the tent just as the music faded out and the mic screeched once. People were already finding their seats. Caterers moved between tables, dropping off glasses of sparkling cider like it was a damn wedding toast. Gerald stood center stage under a string of lights, gripping the mic like a preacher at a revival. Krista sat 2 rows from the front, legs crossed, smiling at him like this was all going exactly as planned. She didn't even look at me. He cleared his throat and raised his glass. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, family, neighbors, today isn't just about a business launch. It's about legacy. It's about building something that lasts long after we're gone. The crowd murmured, glasses lifted. Someone near me whispered, "Here it comes." Gerald paced slowly, milking it. Our family has always believed in giving back, in planting roots deep into this community, just like my father did, just like I did. And now, my son Ryan gets to carry that torch forward. The people at my table nodded. Someone pulled out their phone and hit record. But big dreams need big foundations, Gerald continued, voice swelling. And that's why, with the overwhelming generosity of one of our own, this vision, this retreat center, this incubator for Montana's future leaders, will finally have a home. I felt my jaw tense. My hands were flat on my thighs, holding steady. Gerald looked straight at me. Thanks to the incredible donation of land from Rick Haldren. Applause exploded before he even finished. We will begin construction this fall on the first phase of the Haldren Legacy Campus. I didn't move, but something in me went ice cold. Phones were up. People stood, clapping like it was the end of a graduation ceremony. Gerald beamed. Krista looked like she was about to cry, with pride, not shame. I stood up. The applause started to slow. I looked at Gerald, looked at the crowd, then back to him. That was never agreed to. Silence. Like someone had yanked the cord out of the speakers. Even the kids stopped whispering. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. Gerald lowered the mic halfway. I think there's a misunderstanding. No misunderstanding, I said, eyes on him. I never agreed to donate the ranch. Not 1 acre. Not 1 inch. Murmurs rippled across the room like wind through dry grass. A woman 2 tables over put her phone down. Someone near the back muttered, "Wait, what?" Jeanette was on her feet now. "Rick," she said, voice high and tight, "I think maybe you're confused. We were under the impression. You weren't under anything." I cut in. "You printed signs. You invited guests. You made a speech. You never asked." Her cheeks flushed deep pink. "Well, you certainly didn't object before today. And you're part of this family. Families contribute. Not under pressure. Not by ambush." She stepped forward, gripping the back of a chair. "Do you have any idea how ungrateful this makes you look?" I looked right at her. Better ungrateful than manipulated. Gasps. Real ones this time. Gerald set the mic down like it burned. Ryan looked like he wanted to sink through the floor. Krista still hadn't moved. Her smile was gone, replaced with something brittle. I didn't wait for more. I stepped out from the table, walked past the front row, and left the tent without looking back. Behind me, chairs scraped. Someone called my name, but I didn't stop. I was halfway across the grass when I heard heels pounding behind me. "Rick, wait." Krista's voice. I didn't turn around. "Rick, stop." I did. Only because I didn't want her chasing me into the parking lot like some damn soap opera. I turned, hands in my pockets, and waited. She came right up to me, breathing hard. Her face was flushed, her lipstick slightly smudged. "What the hell was that?" she hissed. "That was me telling the truth," I said. "You should try it sometime." "Don't do that." She pointed back toward the tent. "You humiliated my parents in front of everyone." "No," I said. "They humiliated me. You helped." Krista blinked fast, lips parting like she couldn't believe I'd said it out loud. She stepped closer. "We talked about using the ranch." "No," I cut in, voice steady. "You talked." I said no. "Then you waited until I was cornered to pretend we agreed." "It's just land, Rick." My stomach turned. She kept going. "This is about more than you. Ryan's business can lift this whole town. Your ranch is just sitting there. And it's mine." She folded her arms. "You're being so damn selfish." That's rich coming from the woman who set me up. "Oh, come on," she snapped. "This was supposed to be about family. About legacy. About something bigger than your precious boundaries. But God forbid anyone ever asks you to give without strings. Giving's not the problem. Being used is." Behind her, I saw Jeanette standing just inside the tent, arms crossed, lips tight. A few of Krista's cousins had wandered out, clearly trying to look like they weren't eavesdropping. The whole tent buzzed with low murmurs. Nobody had started the music again. Krista's voice dropped. You could fix this. Right now? Just step up and say you meant to give it. Tell them it was a surprise. Nobody has to know. I stared at her. You actually think I'm going to lie so your dad can get a standing ovation off my property? Her jaw clenched. It's for the future. No, I said, voice flat. It's for your future, not mine. Her eyes welled up, but not from sadness. From rage. This is why my family never liked you, she spat. You pretend to be this calm, generous guy, but you're just as stubborn, paranoid. Then her hand came out of nowhere. The slap cracked across my face, clean and sharp. My glasses flew off. The whole field seemed to freeze. The band stopped mid-song. Someone near the tent gasped. Forks clattered on plates. I didn't say a word. I bent down, picked up my glasses from the grass, wiped them gently with the hem of my shirt. The left arm was a little bent. I straightened it, slid them back on. Krista stood there, chest rising and falling, hands shaking slightly. She looked terrified of what she'd just done, and somehow still sure I had it coming. I looked at her one last time. Then I turned and walked away. No words. No scene. No goodbye. Just gravel crunching under my boots as I crossed the lot and headed for my truck. I reached the truck, yanked the door open, and sat down hard behind the wheel. My cheek still burned, but it didn't matter. The line had already been crossed. Slapped or not, I was done playing polite. I pulled out my phone and hit Keen's number again. He picked up mid-ring. Rick, do it, I said. Trigger the shield. All of it. Copy that, he said, no hesitation. I'll file the immediate block on the trust access. Nobody can touch it without a federal court order now. Good. I want them locked out hard. They already are. But I'm pushing it up the chain to make sure it's airtight. I'm calling in a favor with a clerk in Helena. Documents will be time-stamped within the hour. I stared straight ahead at the tent. From here I could see people moving around, unsettled. No one had come out after me. Keen continued. I'll have Lena join the call. She's already briefed. I was hoping I wouldn't need her, I muttered. Well, he said, hope didn't stop them. The line clicked, and a woman's voice joined. Sharp. Direct. This is Lena Rhodes. I'm on it, Mr. Haldren. I've already flagged the parcel group under the Haldren Trust. Any changes will trigger lockdown alerts across 3 systems. No one's touching that land. I want boots on it, I said. Physical presence. Now. Already dispatched, she said. 2 plainclothes security posted on your south gate. A 3rd en route to the old feed barn, just in case. You want drones up? Not yet, I said. But if someone gets close, light it up. You got it. King cut back in. I'm also issuing a no-contact notice for Gerald, Jeanette, and Ryan. That way, if they start harassing you directly, it's a legal violation. Add Krista to that list, I said, eyes still locked on the tent. I don't care if it's temporary. Understood, he said. Text me her full legal name to match the filing. I already had the text ready to go. I sent it, then opened another message thread to the town clerk's office. I typed out, urgent, flag any activity or inquiries tied to Parcel 14, HDR 021. Possible fraudulent transfer attempt. Lock title. Sent. Done. The wind kicked up a little across the lot, blowing dust across my boots. I stayed in the truck, but didn't start it. Just sat there, watching. Back at the tent, Gerald was talking fast with a small group near the podium. His hands moved sharp, frustrated. Jeanette hovered just behind him, glaring toward the entrance like she expected me to come crawling back. Ryan looked pale, sweaty. The entrepreneur, with no capital and too many flyers. Krista hadn't come out yet. The music had started again, but it was lower now, half-hearted. The band was just trying to fill dead air. People weren't clapping anymore. Some were leaving early, plates barely touched. A few older couples walked toward their cars, whispering as they passed me. One guy, some local banker I'd met once, gave me a thumbs up as he passed. Didn't say a word, just nodded like he knew. Maybe he did. Inside that tent was the wreckage of a plan built on pressure, arrogance, and assumptions. They thought I'd roll over, smile for the cameras, be the good husband. They forgot I was raised by a man who taught me 2 things. Protect what's yours, and never let anyone corner you with a smile. So I stayed right where I was, engine off, phone in hand, watching the whole damn thing crumble from 100 feet away. I spotted Keen's silver Lincoln before it even turned into the gravel lot. Same car he's driven for 15 years. Clean, dull, dependable. Like him. It pulled in slow. Back seat door opened first. Lena stepped out in jeans, boots, and a dark blazer. Clipboard in hand, sunglasses on. She didn't look like a lawyer. She looked like someone who ran crisis control for billionaires. Then came Keen, dressed like he was headed to court. Crisp navy suit, BULO tie, and zero expression. Behind him, a third guy in a plain gray windbreaker stepped out, holding a thick folder. Process server. The moment those three headed toward the tent, I opened my truck door and followed from a distance. Didn't want to miss this part. They didn't ask permission to enter. Just walked straight through the open flap like they were the damn IRS. People turned. Conversation stopped. The band quieted mid-song again. Keen went straight to Gerald and Jeanette. "Gerald Morrison," Keen said, voice cutting clear across the tent. "You've been served." The process server handed over the packet with practice speed. Jeanette reached for her husband's arm like it might physically stop what was happening. "And Jeanette Morrison," Keen added, turning, "you as well." She hesitated to take the papers. Server didn't care. Dropped them at her feet. "What is this?" Gerald snapped. "Cease and desist," Keen said calmly. "Violation of property trust protections, unauthorized public misrepresentation, reputational harm, and coercion attempts against a private landholder." That's just the start. The whole room froze. "You can't do this," Gerald started. "Oh, I can," Keen interrupted. "And I have. You used my client's name and private assets to raise your family's profile without consent. You printed materials, gave a public speech, and implied a donation that never existed. That's fraud. Civil and possibly criminal." Jeanette gasped. "You have no idea who we know." "I don't care who you know," Keen snapped. "Because they're all in this room. And they just watched it happen." I scanned the faces in the crowd. Eyes wide. Phones up again. Except this time, nobody was smiling. Councilman Briggs, who'd just been reelected, was already slipping out the back. Councilwoman Myers, who'd once called Ryan Bozeman's next big thing, didn't even say goodbye, just grabbed her purse and dipped. Gerald looked around, desperate now. "Can we step outside? Talk about this like men." Keen didn't budge. "We're done talking. These documents freeze any attempted transactions tied to the Haldren Trust. You so much as call the county clerk's office. We'll have you in court before lunch tomorrow." Krista finally emerged from behind a column near the dessert table. Her face had gone ghost white. She didn't say a word. She just watched it all fall apart. Ryan stepped forward, hands out. "All right. Okay, let's just breathe a second, all right? Everyone's upset. Maybe this got out of hand. Sure, but we can work something out. This doesn't have to go nuclear." He looked at me. I didn't answer. Just kept my hands in my pockets. "Come on, Rick," he said, voice cracking. "You know we meant well." Keen raised an eyebrow. "Intent doesn't erase consequences." Lena added, "And we've already locked the land down. The Haldren Ranch is now under 24-hour legal surveillance. Any attempt to approach the property will be treated as trespassing." That got people whispering again. Jeanette finally broke. "This is insane. All this over some dirt and pine trees?" Keen gave her a thin smile. "It's not the land. It's the lie." I turned and walked back out. Didn't need to hear another word. I walked the long edge of the fairgrounds, past the hay bales and the food trucks packing up, until I hit the far fence line. Leaned against one of the old wood posts and stared out across the open field. My heart had finally slowed, but the back of my neck still felt hot. I heard her footsteps before I saw her. Krista. She stopped a few feet behind me, arms crossed, hair blowing a little in the late breeze. "You didn't have to blow everything up," she said. I didn't look at her. Didn't realize it was all built on my name. She sighed. "You didn't even give us a chance to explain." "There's nothing to explain," I said. "You let them use me. You helped them use me." She stepped closer. "They weren't trying to hurt you, Rick. They were just trying to build something for Ryan. For the future." I turned then, looked her dead in the eye. Then why not ask? Why not talk to me like a damn adult, instead of springing it in front of 100 people with a mic and a banner? Krista opened her mouth, then shut it again. "You sat on that secret," I said. "You watched me walk into that tent, saw the signs, heard the whispers, and you let it happen." "I didn't think you'd react like this," she said, voice rising. I thought maybe if you saw how proud everyone was. You mean how trapped I was? She shook her head, frustrated. I was trying to help my brother. Everything's always about what you won't do, Rick. You've got land and money and options, and the rest of us are just scraping. You don't get to guilt me because your brother's not responsible. He's trying. He's failing. That landed. She flinched. I stepped back from the fence. You don't get to call it support when it's a setup. She looked at me then, really looked. Her eyes were puffy, mascara smudged. For a second, she wasn't the perfectly polished daughter of Gerald and Jeanette. She was just a tired woman who got caught doing the wrong thing and wanted someone else to carry the blame. Her voice dropped. Are you coming home? I paused. No. She looked away. Rick. Not with people who hit me. Her head snapped back. You know I didn't mean. You meant it enough to do it in front of a tent full of people. Silence. All I could hear was the wind picking up, rattling the flags over the food court booths. She bit her lip. I was angry. You embarrassed us. And you slapped me. We stood there, locked in that moment. No screaming. No begging. Just truth. She blinked fast and looked down. So that's it. For now, I said. I'm going back to the ranch. You don't call. You don't come by. Not unless a lawyer tells you to. I turned and started walking. She didn't follow. I didn't see Krista again after that day. Never filed for anything. No lawyers, no fights. Just distance. Silence. Which, honestly, said more than any courtroom ever could. 2 years went by faster than I expected. The ranch became more than just home. It turned into my business. Keen helped set up the structure. Lena helped build the model. And soon enough, folks were calling from 5 states over. Landowners, farmers, retired couples. All of them needing help to lock their assets down tight before the vultures moved in. Turns out, protecting yourself from your own family? That's a hell of a niche. And there's no shortage of demand. I took the old barn and converted it into a legal safe storage and meeting space. Set up video calls from the porch. Reviewed trust paperwork at the same table my grandfather taught me to sort cattle records on. I didn't need an office tower in the city. I had acreage, privacy, and peace. Krista's family? Different story. Gerald's face vanished from all the local boards. Real estate deals dried up fast once people realized how deep the scam had gone. Jeanette tried to host a charity gala the fall after everything. Maybe 24 people showed up, and most left after dessert. Ryan's little empire crashed within 8 months. Couldn't get zoning permits. Couldn't get funding. Couldn't get anyone to trust him. He tried to rebrand as a consultant last year. That lasted about 3 weeks. The Morrison name's mud in Bozeman now. Krista got herself a job at a dental office out by Four Corners. Front desk work. Steady hours. I heard she moved back in with her mother after Gerald had to sell off their second property to cover legal fees. We haven't spoken in over a year. Not even by accident. And I'm good with that. Right now, I'm standing on the porch, coffee in hand, watching the sunrise stretch across the north field. The sky's burning pink and orange, and the cattle are just starting to stir. No noise. No begging. No schemes. Just quiet. People always act like saying no is selfish, that it closes doors. But for me, saying no opened everything.